Hi everyone, I'm Maegan Lemp, and this is Quick Conversations on Wellness. And this is a project designed to explore the idea that we don't all think and experience wellness in the same way. And today I am so pleased to be joined by my friend Katie Fowler. Katie is a wife and a mom and a sister and a seeker, and she's also a judge in the city of St. Louis. So thanks for joining us, Katie.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, I think you had a good synopsis. I live in the city of St. Louis with my husband and four kids, who range in age from 15 to 5. And I'm also for work. I'm a judge in the city of St. Louis, which is a relatively new job for me. I was appointed in November of 2017. And I fill my cup with lots of friends and my family and my parents, and that's about it.
Wonderful. So I would love it if you could tell us the way that you think about and experience wellness, both generally through a bigger lens and also how that affects your day-to-day life and how you experience wellness day to day.
So I appreciate this question because it gave me an opportunity to really think about, to give words to how I think about wellness. And so in putting words to it, I think when I generally think about wellness prior to this, it was a feeling. So if I had to put words to the feeling, I would say that that wellness is the moments where I have the remembrance of my wholeness, and that feels like peace. Those are the moments where I am not attached to outcomes or to other people. Those are the moments where I can sort of take things as they come. That wellness is that little place inside of myself that's just inner peace. And so that's the feeling that I'm trying to achieve. And so then to get there for me is a pretty holistic and kind of comprehensive process that includes everything from, obviously my state of mind, but to my physicality, the exercise, or what I'm doing with my day, what I'm putting into my body. So it's kind of like the holistic effort to achieve that feeling of inner peace. And do you want me to talk about a little bit about how I do that?
Yeah, I love the way that you describe that process and how organically that happens. So what tools do you employ when you're feeling off and you feel like you need to recalibrate or refine your homeostasis?
So I guess the first thing is, what I really hope to do is to be aware of it. So, I'm curious about how often I actually catch it and how often I'm just totally oblivious and swept up in whatever I think is the issue in front of me. So right now, especially, I'm trying to catch myself and to just kind of pause and say, here I am. And then I think this pandemic has been really good for sort of reminding myself to allow the feeling, to remind myself that, this pandemic has been interesting in that there's a lot of good things, and then there's a lot of hard things, and they happen moment to moment. So it's been kind of a reminder of like just pausing and acknowledging and sort of allowing that feeling without trying to change it or shame myself for having it or being disappointed in myself for being in that place. So I think that's the starting point. And then I have my toolbox of things, and that gets me when I recognize that I'm in a space. So if I don't have a lot of time, then I usually try to go back to kind of an anchoring thought. So a thought that kind of grounds me and reminds me of my wholeness. So something that just reminds me to allow whatever is happening inside of me or whatever is happening outside of me, anchoring myself with a thought that I can allow. There's that Pema Chodron, I listened to one of her audiobooks, and in it, she just kept saying, when you're in something, you just have to keep saying, allow, allow, allow. So oftentimes in those moments, it's just me saying, allow, allow, allow. And then so in that moment, it's sort of the allowance and offering myself some grace and some space to kind of process it. But if I have an opportunity, if the time presents itself, then there are certainly, I have my little toolbox of things that are a little bit more external. Going for a run for me is always a good way to clear my head, and talking external, like processing things. So I'm certainly an external processor. So that's why, for me, our runs are really, that's how I get to know Maegan, is running with her several times a week is really, really, really helpful to me finding my wholeness, is talking about whatever is confronting me and what I'm going through. So talking about it, talking it through, going for a run, and probably the most important thing I do as far as kind of trying to recalibrate and to keep myself reminded of this space is the morning time I spend. So every morning I do get up, and either before a run or in lieu of a run, I sit with coffee and I do my kind of morning reflection on a reading, and just sort of that kind of a pause for some meditation, just a little bit of time to kind of connect to that part of myself. And I think that is a good grounding exercise for me to it kind of reminds me to start my day in that place. And then as the day goes on, I often have to touch back into that place many times throughout the day. But for me, starting my day like that is a good opportunity to sort of set my day on the right path.
That's beautiful. I love that you bring up having a little bit of time to quiet and be still in the morning, and the process of throughout the day identifying how we're feeling and then offering some allowance, because I think that is so applicable during these times of uncertainty that we're all facing right now.
Yeah, I think for me, the big blessing of this pandemic has been that stillness. We're sort of all forced into a pause. And for me, that has been really helpful in kind of cultivating that stillness inside of myself. So the external stillness is creating a little bit more space inside of myself and a little bit more stillness inside of myself.
Katie, you're able to articulate this so beautifully. And I think that there are so many things that you said that are so applicable in our everyday lives right now. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is a pleasure, and I'm really glad you're doing this.